Hello everyone and welcome to Skillcapped. I'm Notorious Dub and today we're going to be talking about one of the most difficult maps to play in all of Valorant, Breeze. Now with its wide open angles and extremely long sidelines that you're constantly fighting around, the meta is completely different than the typical close quarters combat maps that we're accustomed to in Valorant. And just by playing the right agents the correct way, you can boost your win percentage by an insane amount, because there are a ton of agents who just aren't as effective on the map when they're the top meta agents on the other maps like Killjoy or Raze. Traditionally in Valorant, most of the maps are based around very tight areas that are insane for agents like Raze or Killjoy to dominate, but Breeze is wide open and extremely long, and it takes a completely different playstyle to dominate. So today let's delve deep into the top 3 agents that you need to be playing on Breeze to take map control and take proper engagements to absolutely dominate on the most unique map in the game of Valorant, Breeze. But before we get too deep into today's video, we have to talk about our question of the day. And today I'm curious, how do you guys like Breeze? What are your thoughts on the map? Now, honestly, it kind of had the icebox effect for me, where I absolutely hated the map at first, but as I got comfortable with the angles and the meta of the map, I started to really enjoy it. And now, honestly, I just kind of view it as a team deathmatch where you have to come in with confidence and be prepared to just scrap it out every round. But maybe it'll have the icebox effect again, where I get burnt out of it over time and it drops back to one of my least favorite maps in the game once again. But I'm sure you guys have a ton of different opinions than me on the matter, which is exactly why I want to hear from you. So let me know in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on Breeze and how do you like the map? Now, first and foremost, and easily the best agent on this map is Jett. Now, Jett is already meta, being the fastest and most insta-locked agent in the entire game, and the most popular agent for high-ranked duelists and pros who love to take fights early and play off angles while still being insanely safe with their mobility and smokes. And not to mention, she is easily the best operator in the entire game, and the operator is extremely broken on Breeze. But what all makes Jett the best solo agent in the game on Breeze? Well, first and foremost, Jett excels in long-range fights, and fights where the elevation changes so she can utilize her off angles and her ultimate very well. So starting off with the long-range fights, Jett playing around mid or A hall is usually going to be the go-to, because she can dash to aggressive positions to catch the enemy off guard before they peek, or hold extremely aggressive off angles and peaks and still have that dash to reposition and or re-peek from a different angle. And because there is so much area to control, Jett can play aggressive for an opening pick and instantly dash to take space on the map and run it down behind the enemy team, because the rotations and covers take so long to go through that a Jett dash into an open mid gives her a ton of options to slip in and pull off the fastest flank possible, which basically means those early round coin flip fights have way more of an impact when Jett wins them than any other agent on the map. So really, just by picking Jett and abusing those early round picks, you can start to boost your win percentage just by over pressuring the enemy team, because they really have no answer for it. But then we have Jett's ultimate. It provides a ton of kill pressure because she has full movement speed and full accuracy while still maintaining one-shot headshot potential, which means an attacking Jett can dash in and easily isolate angles for a series of 1v1s, which she typically dominates, and a defending Jett is able to constantly reposition against a push and find those isolated fights on attackers executing a site very easily. But the bread and butter, and not to mention the most annoying thing in this entire map, is all of the ultimate peaks that Jett can pull off, which in my opinion, this one mechanic makes Jett completely overpowered on this map, because a fully accurate flying Jett is insanely hard to hit while you're stationary on the ground trying to control your recoil and hit a moving target, so she can just point at your head and click over and over until she manages to hit a dagger. But it's also that elevation change in general that makes Jett such a force to be reckoned with. Now, Breeze has the most verticality of any map in the game, even more so than Icebox, and any structure that you see, Jett can probably get on top of it. Now, the most overpowered one is the pillars on top of a bomb site. It's so far in the sky most of the time I don't even notice that Jett's playing there, and Jett can updraft on top of either of them and play the most insane off angle you've ever seen, all while being able to dash off of them without taking damage, giving the Jett the easy crosshair placement in fights while the enemy team has to hit an insane flick to pick up the kill on her. And against Vipers and Omens, Jett can updraft over a ton of smokes and get a top-down view of the attacker's execute by standing on the pillars or walls of B site, the walls in mid, or any structure on A site. This allows Jett to have a ton of ability to actually pick off enemies playing hard around smokes, because it opens up new sight lines that the enemy isn't expecting. So whenever the enemy team is inevitably playing Viper and they throw their wall down on a site, you can position yourself to updraft on top of a pillar or a wall and look straight over the top of that smoke and kill the people that are trying to walk up next to it. All of these little tiny structures that just seem like innocent cover that you can play around behind, that you could probably be wall banged through, they create a million operator angles that a Jett can play on to keep her safe from pre-fires and certain flashes, and it gives her a ton of vision to play around while being incredibly unpredictable to actually kill. Also remember, if you're serious about improving, then go to skillcapped.com to unlock our hyper improvement system that will teach you how to win more gunfights, master your agent, and so much more. It's also backed by our rank improvement guarantee, so really you have nothing to lose. So come join over 500,000 satisfied members of Skillcapped, improve that KDA, and get the rank you've always wanted at skillcapped.com. Link is in the description below. And next up we have Reyna. And in pro play, honestly, we might not see a ton of Reyna on Breeze because of how valuable area control with Sentinels are for pro players, but she is dominating solo queue in ranked right now because she can play so aggressive and be extremely safe with it. So first of all, we have to talk about her entry frag potential because first and foremost, she is the lead person into the bomb site, and having that stationary flash to keep the enemy suppressed is extremely valuable for allowing your team to clear all of the seemingly infinite angles that you have to peek into, and you don't really have to worry about getting your flash dodged and being re-swung immediately after. Instead, Reyna Flash sits above your head and buys your team even more time to get set up than any other flasher in the entire game, so those retakes and bomb site takes initially are way safer and more reliable with a Reyna on your team compared to a Phoenix or a Breach. And just like on any other map, Reyna always has the entry frag and dismiss potential to cause a ton of chaos for an execute to snowball into a site take because the enemy really just can't trade it out. But my bread and butter and what a ton of pro players are doing is using Reyna's mid control and isolation potential to make her such a great pick because Breeze is a wide open map that you can force 1v1s against the other team on. And Reyna is another one of those agents that just excels at those 1v1s. And if the enemy team refuses to give you those 1v1s and just plays safe back with crossfires, then they aren't going to be covering everything they need to, and they're going to be giving you way too much space for free just because you're playing Reyna and you're confident enough to take those 1v1s. Now, Reyna has the ability to heal back to full very quickly to once again pressure that gap that you've created by getting a kill just like Jett does, and being able to flash to isolate those fights and catch people off guard in these incredibly open areas creates a ton of problems for the enemies. So it's this ability to get a kill early and continue that pressure because of how long the cover-ups and rotations take that make Reyna and Jett so effective on this map. But her ultimate is what sets her apart, and it's one of the things that makes her so incredible on this map, because you can force coin flip fights like an elbow, because the verticality and the tightness makes headshots very inconsistent, and your ult allows you to pump out enough damage to pretty much always win those body shot fights, just like in A-halls or those fights down mid as well, where those headshots are sometimes pretty hard to come by. So Reyna and Jett virtually do the same thing, but Reyna's ultimate allows her to swap it up and dominate those close corners and choke points, where Jett's ultimate just gives her that extra long range prowess. So it's a toss up between whether you want to focus on those long range early picks or those round winning choke point dominations that you can pick up with Reyna. And finally, we have Viper, because she has the most uptime for smokes of any agent, and her curtain provides too much utility to cut off the map and allow your team to actually control the important areas. Now, these are a lot of the same reasons Viper became so popular on Icebox, and we're starting to see the same exact trend on Breeze. Now, to start with, let's talk about Viper's wall. This thing cuts off all of the important angles on A site and will get you a ton of plants for free because the rotations are extremely long, and the only hope they have is that the person playing site will have to push through the wall all by themselves to stop the plant because their team can't possibly be there yet, and base case scenario for them, they're walking into a 1v4. And not to mention, it also gives you an unprecedented amount of mid control, because you can segment mid into two halves and force the enemy team to respect the walk up on the other side of the wall. Because when the wall drops, the enemy doesn't know if you're going to be sitting in an off angle waiting to kill them as soon as it goes down, or if you're going to peek through it at any second, so they have to respect that initial peek as well. This way, it just naturally creates way too much pressure for a team to play around unless they commit a ton of resources to playing around it or they play extremely passive behind it. And that creates weak bomb sites for your team to actually pressure. And Viper Wall actually does the same thing on B bomb site that it does on A. So it isolates everything that isn't on the left side of the site, allowing your team to flash out and clear that back area to get a free plant off on the back side of the pillar. But ultimately, with how long all of the sightlines are on Breeze, Viper is the only agent who can properly cut off the angles and isolate executes for her team. And on top of that, Viper has insanely safe post plants on Breeze, and the bomb site takes an insane amount of time for the defending team to retake, which just means if your team can actually stall for 20 seconds, that's all you need. The round is a guaranteed win as long as you can throw your snake bites properly. And this is honestly the best win condition and synergy you can ask for, because your wall is going to solo give you a lot of bomb plants for free, and your snake bites are going to allow you to close out rounds just because rotations and retakes take so long to do. So the synergy just in Viper with herself is absolutely insane. And not to mention, her ultimate is great for locking down bomb sites to stop the enemy from taking the area in the first place, because the funnels into the bomb sites are deadly when there's a Viper ultimate there. You're guaranteed going to be at 1 HP by the time you get through it. On attacker side though, Viper's ultimate does fall a little bit short, because the area is so open that the enemies can creep around and enter your ult from any area behind you, but that does give you the option to constantly peek out of your ultimate to pick off unsuspecting enemies before they actually wrap around and make that entry. But remember, if you want to improve, win more gunfights, and get the rank you have always wanted, then check out skillcapped.com. Link is in the description below. But all in all, the biggest thing about dominating on Breeze is going to be confidence, because you're going to be forced into 1v1s and fights that you don't normally take. So pick agents that you're confident you can hit shots on and give you the advantage in those fights by allowing you to be safe and play those aggressive angles early. But who have you had success on Breeze with? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn those notification bells on, because we here at Skillcapped have a ton more comprehensive premium guides coming your way that you're going to want to stay up to date with so you can stay ahead of the pack. As always, I want to thank you for spending this little bit of your day with us, and I'm Notorious Dub, signing off.